Hey everybody, and welcome back to FSi DFS. I'm McKinley412, and today we're looking at this six-game early slate. Talking about it. If you're looking for the main slate, check down in the description or the comments later on today, closer to lock time for that one. Megaro and I will type up some notes, kind of give some of our favorite pitcher plays, favorite stacks, etc. But for now, just this six-game early slate. There's a little rain concern in the Yankees-Twins game. I don't think it's going to be anything at all, especially after they postponed last night. They're probably not going to want to do that one again. So I think weather's just going to be fine in general. There's three pitchers that really stand out on this slate. Out of those three, I think two of them are going to be pretty chalky. So we'll just kind of dive into it and go from there. I'll give you the sheet now. Strider. He's going to be your top option on the slate today, going up against Oakland. Strider's coming off that just absolute monster 16 strikeout game against Colorado, 52 DK points. It was absurd. But even before that, he got 9 strikeouts. He's only allowed 3 earned runs in his past 4 starts. And now he gets Oakland, sub 9K. I think Strider, he's your SP1. He's got to be somebody that you absolutely lock in there, especially in cash games. You have to lock him in. Below him, Castillo. It's kind of not the same deal, but it kind of is the same deal. 9.8K. He's a little bit pricier, but this guy has some serious strikeout stuff. He's a righty going up against the White Sox, and we know how much that team can struggle against right-handed pitching. They strike out a bit. They really struggle with power against righties. And he's kind of the same deal. He's got a nice stretch here outside of one game against Oakland, where he's allowed very few earned runs, limited contact. He's not walking anybody. He's really got the command down. That was his issue years and years past, is he just walked a lot of guys. He was erratic, big boomer bust guy. He's shown that he can certainly get it together now. So I think Strider Castillo is going to be a very, very popular two combination starting pitcher on DraftKings. Below them, Sandoval, and he's my third pitcher that I was talking about. Kind of like these are the three that really stand out. Sandoval, left-hander, going up against Detroit. Sandoval just nuked Detroit last month in August. He had a complete game, no earned runs, 4 hits against, 9 strikeouts, good for 44 DK points. Am I expecting that again? No. However, I think that he at 8.6K, he can seriously pay off his he can certainly pay off his salary. 8.6K, you're looking for around 20 DK points. Anything above that, awesome. But I think you're looking for at least 20 DK points, and I think he can certainly get it against Detroit in this matchup. So if you want to put Sandoval in there instead of Castillo, get a little bit more savings and value, sure. But I think Strider, Castillo, and Sandoval, those are like your three that are going to take up a whole lot of ownership on this slate. Kershaw, I don't know if he's on a pitch count. He might be on a pitch count. There's nothing like official. That's not going to fit in there. Kershaw, he's on a pitch count. He's come back from the injury, as we know. He went 66 pitches and he went 74 pitches. Maybe he gets like 80 pitches on this slate, but still 80 pitches against the Giants, over 10K. It's tough to really get excited about it. So he's kind of like the last guy in this top tier. In the mid tier, I got Cobb up at the top. Even though he is going up against the Dodgers, Cobb's been pretty solid outside or after the All-Star break. So we'll scroll down here to the All-Star break, and you can see before that, it was just games of 2, 3, 4 strikeouts, game after game after game. He comes out of the All-Star break, 6, 11, 8, 7, 5, 7, 7. Like he figured something out. During that All-Star break, his strikeout rate has ballooned like crazy. Tough matchup, though, going up against the Dodgers. So it is risky, but I still think compared to the other pitchers that are on the slate and the matchups that are in, his strikeout rate combined with everything else, he's probably my favorite mid-tier on the slate today. Herman for the Yankees going up against Minnesota. This guy just can't strike anybody out. I don't know what's going on. Who knows? But he only had 1 strikeout in his last start. Even against Oakland, he was only able to muster up 5, 3 against the Mets. The strikeout rate is just not there. Is he a terrible play? No. I mean, you can see he's really limiting contact. He's not walking guys at all. He's still giving us a pretty solid floor. So I still think he's ranked a little bit behind Cobb, but Herman, limited upside, but I think he could provide a nice safer value if you need to go down into that lower tier. Kopech and Lauer, they're GPP only for me. Kopech going up against Seattle, Lauer going up against the Rockies in Coors Field. Lauer a lefty, that's all Colorado can hit is lefties at home. That's like all their offense. So I'm not too interested in Lauer there. And then Kopech coming off the IL, kind of tougher matchup going up against Seattle. So not super interested in him there. Freeland, he's an ultimate fade going up against Milwaukee. Absolutely not. Don't want to be touching him. Waldichuk and Varland. I was struggling kind of determining which one I wanted to put up at the top. So Waldichuk, a big strikeout guy in the minors. His strikeout rate in the minors was like 35%. It was absurd. And he kind of showed that stuff in his first MLB debut here. 6 strikeouts in just 4.2 innings against a Washington team that does not strike out very often. He's had a tough matchup going up against Atlanta, but Atlanta, what do we know about them? They strike out quite a bit more often than you would think. I know they have an elite offense and everything, and that's kind of why it is concerning. But still, Atlanta does strike out quite a bit. So if Waldichuk can get 6, maybe even 7 strikeouts in this game, at 5.5K, it's worth taking a risk. Cash game, no. But GPP, I think the upside is there, especially at 5.5K. He can certainly pay off his salary. Varland, he's kind of like Waldichuk light, and this is a top Twins prospect. He's got a solid strikeout rate in the minors. I think it was around 30%, that like elite 30% mark that you're looking for. Tough matchup against the Yankees, but the Yankees, we know by now, their offense has been really struggling. So this is his MLB debut. I put him below Waldichuk, just because he hasn't had his debut yet. The Yankees don't strike out as much as the Braves do, but again, you can put Barrow above Waldichuk. I don't think either of them are cash, but I still think that both of them are still viable in GPPs, especially at their price tags. And then Hutchison, 5.1K. If you want to go there, okay. He's got the Angels. They strike out a lot, but I mean, Trout and Ohtani are still there. They can light them up. Who knows? So that's kind of the pitching on this slate today. Looking towards the bat, it's Coors Field, it reigns supreme. I think the over-under is 11.5. I think the next highest on the entire slate is around 8 or 8.5. So it's clearly the top dog. You got 2 poorish pitchers against 2 offenses that are pretty solid against that pitch hand. So Milwaukee's going to be your top dogs. 3 bats that really stand out for me on this Milwaukee side is Adames, Renfroe, and McCutchen. Those are going to be the 3 that I would be starting off with. If you want to go cheap, Hayura at 3.1K could be starting. Don't mind him at all. He's got solid numbers going up against lefties. There are some other values that we could be talking about. On the Colorado side of things, one of my favorite value plays on the entire slate is going to be Montero. He could go first base, he could go third base if you want, but he's got fantastic numbers against left-handed pitching. He could be hitting right in the heart of the order, cleanup spot possibly. So I do not mind him. Actually, love him at 2.5K. Would not shock me if I have him in quite a bit of my lineups here. Just kind of open up some salary, even though I don't really think it's necessary. I mean, you can kind of see I got the 2 pitchers that I want, a solid Milwaukee stack, and throwing in Montero, I still got 3.4K to work with. So I mean, that could be a good start to your builds if you really want to go there. These are not the official cores by any means. Things can change, et cetera, but I just want to guide you guys in the right direction. So Milwaukee, Colorado, obviously Colorado, there's other players that you can go. Like I mentioned, they're pretty good against left-handed pitching at home. So a lot of these guys do stand out. Rogers at 4.7K. If you need a second baseman, you could certainly go there. And yeah. Let's see. Let's go back to the beginning here. Minnesota. How do I want to do this? We'll just keep going through the top. So we already talked about the top. Atlanta, I already mentioned, they're going up against Waldichuk. They strike out a lot, but it is still Atlanta. Like, this is a team that can score, 8, 9, 10 runs. We saw last night, 8, 9, 10 runs on any given night. So even though Waldichuk can strike out quite a few guys, this offense is just absolutely elite. Another one of my favorite value plays on the entire slate is going to be Grissom at second base, just 3K. He has shown that he is, doing just fine in his limited action. I know it's only been about a month or so, but still 3K. And look at the numbers that he's been able to put up: 337 batting average, 4 home runs in all of this. So 3K against the lefty righty matchup. Again, he could be hitting in like that 5-6 spot for Atlanta. So those guys ahead of him, like Riley, Swanson, they got on base. He just breaks them home. So I mean, this is a phenomenal start, in my opinion. Would not shock me. This is kind of where I lean, and I'm not going to build anymore for you guys because I don't want to give up any lineups. But I do think that's a nice spot that you guys could be turning towards. Atlanta, all the other bats are certainly in play, even though Olson's lefty-lefty. I think you can go there. But Riley, he's probably the best play of all of them. Swanson, he could certainly go there. Darno, 4.3K. He's got really solid numbers against left-handed pitching. So you can go Darno at 4.3. Kind of fill things in as we go. I'm gonna stop giving stuff out. So yeah, so GPP, the Yankees top for GPP in my opinion. Going up against Farland, it is his MLB debut, so maybe he's got the jitters. Maybe a couple guys get on base and he just absolutely blows up. So Yankees certainly can go there. Judge obviously is going to be part of your Yankee stack. Dodgers, same thing. Dodgers going up against Cobb. He's been a lot better, as I mentioned, after the All-Star break. And the Dodgers are super expensive. That's kind of why they're in the GP route, just because they are an elite offense. They are super expensive, but they're in a tougher matchup. But still, they can put up a double-digit score if they wanted to. Of course, they want to. They can put up a double-digit score on any night. Seattle and the Giants kind of round things out in GPP. Not too much interest in either of them. As far as the cheap plays go, Minnesota going up against Herman. I already talked about Herman really struggles striking guys out. Top guy that I'd be going with would be Nick Gordon at 3K. He's probably my favorite value play on Minnesota. Correa, he's got some of the best metrics and numbers. Turn it off. He's got some of the best metrics and numbers against Herman's pitch type, so don't mind him for Minnesota. But yeah, Angels, it's Ohtani, it's Trout, and then it's just kind of everybody else. Good luck. Leverage stacks, Oakland, White Sox, Detroit. Not really too much interest in either of these guys. They're just the three teams going up against the three pitchers I think are just going to be very, very chalky today. So that kind of covers everything with this slate. Hopefully this was helpful in kind of guiding you in the right direction. Grissom and Montero, those are my two favorite value plays on the entire slate. Milwaukee top dogs in terms of bats. And then you're just going to be sticking with your three pitchers, Strider, Castillo, and Sandoval, and just kind of mixing in from there. So that kind of covers everything. Hopefully this was helpful. Thanks for watching. Come back later on in the day. We'll have some notes for you for the main slate. Good luck in your contests, and we will see you in the next video.